All right, it's time to start YouTubing. I'm gonna build a lighting company in public. So I've been writing about it on Twitter and LinkedIn the last couple of years. Our first year we did 52.5K in revenue, about 53% margin, and then last year we did 139K in revenue at about 28% margin. And so this is gonna be our third year doing it, and I'm just gonna YouTube the entire thing. So it's gonna be an entire journey about everything that's going on. Let's see how fast I can get to 1 million in sales at 30% margin. I think that's a really good goal. That's very achievable. Couple things. I'm in Salt Lake City, Utah, so it's actually a really competitive market, which at first was kind of annoying, but now I'm realizing it's actually a really good thing because it's like a proven market and there's a ton of demand. And every time someone else sets up Christmas lights, like a different competitor does an installation on a different house, the neighbors of that house are like, hey, I want Christmas lights too. So actually, the more Christmas lights that we all install, we all just increase the general demand in this area. One thing I'm going to be doing differently this year is I'm about to start offering permanent light installation. And so it's a lot different than temporary holiday lights. So temporary holiday lights is like classic Christmas lights. They're C9 bulbs, and they just clip right into the gutter or into the soffit or shingle, and then they're super easy to remove. And so that is actually a great business model because you can turn around the next year and sell the same customers again with a setup that you've already measured and cut and installed before, so you have notes on how to do it. That really streamlines the process, and it's a returning customer, so you have recurring revenue there. But the thing with permanent lights is a lot of homeowners really want that, and it's about 3 times the cost, but you only install it once, so you're one and done. And currently, our business name, my business partner is Cole Lyon, with Salt Lake City ChristmasLights.com is our business name, and then the company that I'm starting right now is Park City Permanent ChristmasLights.com. I chose those 2 domains. Cole found the first one because it's an exact match domain, which is really good for SEO. And so the problem that I'm currently sitting at is I've never installed permanent lights. I've never sold permanent lights. It just wasn't a part of our business model. But we got asked about doing it a lot last year. And there's a bunch of customers that we'd send them like a $2,000 or $3,000 quote. We'd be like, we'd love to come do your Christmas lights. We can do it every year. And they'd be like, hey, this is great. We'd actually rather just go with this other quote from this permanent light company and spend $7,000 to do permanent lights and have it one and done. And so, yeah, you're missing out on some revenue. Because it is like a larger installation value. But the other thing is, I believe I haven't figured this out, but I believe it's going to be a lot easier to get someone who, like a homeowner that you just did the permanent lights on, to turn around and do their trees or their bushes or their pillars in the front yard and even the backyard, because about 46% of our revenue with Salt Lake City Christmas lights is trees and bushes, and it's a different style of light. And so even if we do permanent light installation on some of these homes, we could turn around and have them as like a year-to-year customer continuously going on by doing temporary lights, which of course are Christmas lights. But yeah, so the first thing that I'm thinking about, and we gotta watch this in real time because I haven't locked this in yet, is there's a company called Lights at Wholesale. They're about an hour north of Salt Lake. Last year we spent over $30,000 in material with them, and the entrepreneur who started that company, his name is Dustin. Dustin's the man. I've been able to talk to him a lot in the last 2 years, gone out with lunch with him a few times, and he's been extremely helpful. Everything from like insurance to the pay rates for your installers to pricing for your customers to tons of different things. Whenever I'm in a pickle, I've called him and he's been very helpful. So what I'm going to do, a little more background on Dustin. So he has Lights at Wholesale, which I believe is either his second or his first largest company. And so they sell material mostly for temporary lights, but also for permanent lights all throughout North America. They have a handful of warehouses and they do a lot of volume. I've been to their warehouses and they're quite large. So that's one of his main companies. He's a serial entrepreneur, so he has about 6 companies in total. BL Pallet Racking is another one, which doesn't really apply to me, but the 2 other ones that do apply to me is he has a Christmas light installation business in Ogden, which is not my competition because that's too far north for us and we're too far south for him. And then also he has a permanent light business in the same area. And so I'm currently in the process of talking to Dustin and convincing him to let me work for him I want to do some sort of like full-time sales job so I can really understand the sales process of permanent lights. And once I understand the sales process, I'm also going to be able to like see how the actual installation goes and things like that, and what material I should be selecting and what not, and what type of homes we should be targeting and what type of homes we should not be targeting, and a bunch of things like that. So working for someone else who's already been there and done that sounds like a really good idea, because I did not do that with Christmas lights. We just started putting out yard signs, and it worked, but it was definitely a slower journey, a more painful journey. And so working with Dustin sounds like a really good way to start this permanent light business, because I mean, honestly, I can do both at the same time. I can just learn from him, and then in the weekends and night times, I'll just go run the permanent light company myself, figure out the marketing and stuff like that. And on top of that, in Q4, because our Christmas light business starts up at the end of September is when things start to get rolling. But with the Christmas light business, I can, all the leads that ask about permanent lights, I can just turn around and sell them on permanent lights now, because that's what they're interested in. And I would have like the sales process and the knowledge to install and everything already figured out. So yeah, but anyway, just wanted to start YouTubing. Just gonna go ahead and press submit, or post on this video. But yeah, I mean, the goal is how fast can I get to $1 million in revenue at 30% margin with lighting installation. A lot of different ways I can go, and I'm gonna figure it out. I have never done permanent lights at all, so we're gonna figure this out.